We are learning the Kli Yakar on Parashat VaYigash. Short and sweet. Here we go. It says, the Kli Yakar, of course, the beginning of the Parashat talks about how Yaakov Avinu was about to pass away. He was nearing the end of his life. He was 147 years old. He lived 17 good years, tranquil years in Mitzrayim, because his whole family was together. He was with his favorite son Yosef, etc. Says the Pasuk in the book of Bereshit 47, verse 29, Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael Lamut. The days of Yisrael, direct translation, the days of Israel got closer to dying. That is the translation. And Israel, of course, is another name for Yaakov. Says the Kli Yakar, Bamidrash, it brings a midrash in Tanhuma that says, Amru, Hayamim metim, vehem enam metim. The days die, but the sages, the Chachamim, the righteous ones, do not die. Why? Because if you look at the verse, it says, Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael Lamut. And the days of Israel, of person called Israel, Yaakov in other words, his days came close to dying. That means the days are dying. The days are the subject of the verse, not the person himself, not the righteous one. What does that teach you? Because as long as a righteous person, a tzaddik, is alive, then his direct vicinity, the atmosphere around him is alive. The city around him is alive. Uvmoto b'telimotan yemei shalva. And once he dies, those good times, the tranquility, the blessing that he brings to his immediate surroundings, that's what dies. The days, so to speak, around him die, which means that he himself never dies to an extent. In a certain way, the righteous one never dies. How? How is that so? That's what the Kli Yakar wants to explain. Right? We know the secret that when Yaakov came down to Mitzrayim, it was the second year of what was supposed to be a 7-year worldwide famine. He came down in the second year, and as soon as he came down, all of a sudden the Nile River in Egypt began overflowing again and irrigating the canals and filling the fields and creating crops and produce. And of course that was clearly due to the barakah of the righteous one, Yaakov Avinu. And as soon as he died, the famine went back. So that's another connection here. And it says the Kli Yakar further, like it says in Masechet Ta'anit, Gemara Masechet Ta'anit, Dav Hey Amud Bet, Kol Zman sheYaakov Chai Lo Etchil Hashi'abud. As long as Yaakov Avinu was alive, the persecution, so to speak, of the Jewish people, making them into slaves, didn't begin. As long as Yaakov was alive. But Yaakov Atzmo, that wasn't only true about Yaakov, it was also true about all of his sons as well, all the tribes, all the Shivatim. As long as they were all alive, the persecution of the enslavement did not start. But Yaakov Atzmo, Amru Rabbeinu Zal, it says in Masechet Ta'anit, Shelo Met, that he did not die. Did not die. And it's going over technicality. Because nowhere will you find in the whole Tanakh a verse that says clearly and directly, Yaakov met. Yaakov died. Never does it say that. It does say that by Abraham Avinu. It does also say that by Yitzchak Avinu. It says Vayasef Vayamot, that Abraham and Yitzchak gathered up, so to speak, their people, their possessions, and they died. It says Vayikva Yamot. It says they expired and they died. But the word death is brought down in the Torah by them. But when it comes to Yaakov, it doesn't say he died. It says Vayikva Yaakov, Vayasef Elamav. Yaakov expired. And it says he lifted up his legs onto the bed, onto the bed. It never says he died. And the Gemara wants to teach there, what does it mean? According to one opinion there in the Gemara, right, that opinion that says he never died, it gets questioned over there. And it says, hold on a second, doesn't the Torah say that they buried him? Doesn't the Torah say that they mummified him? Because they were in Egypt. That they preserved his body with mummification? If that's the case, they did it for no reason, they did it to a live person. So the opinion that says that he never died says, yes, indeed. They did it, they buried him, they mummified him, thinking he was dead, but he wasn't dead. That's what Rashi says over there in Masechet Ta'anit. Of course, what that means on a physical sense needs to be explained. If it's meant to be taken literally, what does it teach us? for another time. But here, the main point that Kli Yakar wants to teach you is the following idea. He says, really, every righteous person is called alive even in his death. And the same thing is true in the reverse. That every wicked person is called dead even in his life. Because the word hay, alive, and met, dead, are permanent words in the Torah. Every word has power in the Torah. How do you define these two words? When the Torah talks about a living person, a person who's alive, it means someone who lives eternally. Because really, in this physical world, there's no such thing as actual life. Because everyone has an expiration date. Everyone's going to die at some point. Hopefully when Mashiach comes, that'll change. And those who deserve it will see God eternally. But as the world presently stands, in the year 5783 that we're in right now, in the month of Tevet, there is death in the world. A lot of it, as we know. And that means that every second that passes by is a step closer to your death. The clock never stops ticking. And every second that passes is a second you never get back. That second, that moment in time is quote unquote dead. So there's constant death happening every single second, conceptually. So in this world, if someone is alive, you say, yeah, he's temporarily alive, physically alive. But when the Torah talks about life, it means eternal life. It means a life beyond this physical world. It means a life having an eternal relationship with the Creator of the world, basking in His light and His glory. That's the ultimate goal. So when a righteous person dies, he's really still alive because he continues on with God. But when a wicked person dies, but when a wicked person lives, quote unquote, in this world, he's pretty much already dead because his ticket to eternal life, he has forfeited it. It says here further, Kli Yakar, so if that's the case, this is true by all righteous individuals, that they're really alive all the time. Why did the Torah present this idea specifically with the tzaddik, the righteous one of Yaakov? He says over here, because the following. They made a drasha, they taught about Yaakov Avinu, Makish hu lezar'o. Right over there in Masechet Ta'anit as well, that there's a verse that says Yaakov v'zar'o, that juxtaposes the two ideas of Yaakov and his offspring next to each other. And whenever there's a juxtaposition, there's a placement of two ideas next to each other, the Chachamim many times in the Gemara make a drasha, make a certain limud, a certain idea that you extract from this, that you learn from this. And what is the idea here? That why is Yaakov put right next to his descendants in the verse? Because just as long as his descendants are alive, his offspring, his ideas, his establishments that are alive, then it's as if he is always alive as well. Because the father, of course, is a portion, the son is a portion of his father. And every fetus as well, right, is considered a part of the body of the mother. It's considered a limb of the mother, an extension of the mother. And there's many different halachic ramifications to that as well. As long as his seed is alive, he is also alive. That's what Allah means to say, that a piece of him is still alive. Why did he choose to teach this idea about Yaakov Avinu? Because Yaakov, all of his children, he has something unique about him, that all of his children were 100% righteous, pure children, right? All of his 12 Shvatim and the daughters as well were righteous and pure. None of them went off the path. None of them rebelled, or unlike the forefathers before him, right? Yitzchak Avinu, his father, had an Esav who went off the path. And then before him, Abraham Avinu had an Ishmael who was also not part of the exact genealogy of the chosen people. And he also had his issues. So Yaakov Avinu was the exception, and that all his children were holy, special, and pure. And since that's the case, all of his offspring, they're continuing the legacy, the righteous legacy of representing God in the world through him. But as opposed to that, if somebody has chas v'shalom a wicked child, a wicked descendant, Hakarui b'chayav met, who, as we know, as we explained, is called dead already in his life. Right? Wicked people are called dead already in their life, while they're alive. As en bera mazake abba. In that case, the son is not giving any righteousness, any zechut, any merit to his father. He's not upgrading and helping his father once his father is out of this world. Since the son himself, if he's wicked, he's already called dead. So if he's already called dead, he's not continuing that burning fire of life from his father, even though his father may have been righteous. It's not continuing through his wicked son. There's a verse in the Tanakh, in the book of Kings, Melachim Aleph, Yud Aleph, Kaf Aleph, where it says over there regarding David, who passed away, and also David's general, Yoav, who passed away. What does it say over there? It says that they heard in Egypt that David shachav, he laid down, which means he died, but in a nice way. He laid down, imamotav, he laid down with his fathers. That's the language used, David. And then the verse continues, it says, V'chimet Yoav. And they also heard that Yoav died. Yoav was a general, war general. So the question is, why does the same verse talking about the death of two different people describe the death in two different ways? By David it says that he laid with his fathers. But by Yoav it says straight out that he died. Why? Lama Yizkir. Lefi sheDavid hiniach ben tzadik kamoto. Because David left in this world a righteous person, a tzaddik, on his caliber. Who is it talking about? Shlomo HaMelech as well as some other children that he had that were righteous. But Shlomo HaMelech specifically, King Shlomo, who would end up being the wisest man ever, who would end up writing 3 deep books as part of the Tanakh, the Bible, and would end up building the first Beit HaMikdash, the first temple to house the holy presence of God. Masha'inkin bi Yoav, which was untrue with regards to Yoav. Yoav did not leave such a tzaddik in his in the world. And that's why Yoav is called dead, because there's no one else carrying on the fire and the light of a true righteous life through him. With David, however, he did have that. That's why also in the Torah it says that Yaakov laid down. Shechiva. He laid. It doesn't ever say, like I said, it doesn't ever say that Yaakov died straight up. And the word death in this verse that we're talking about is only addressing the days meaning the surroundings of Yaakov. That they felt his death once he was gone, the difference in their lives. But he himself, Yaakov, doesn't die. That is the depth. Of course, he's taking a very simple but meaningful approach here, that if you want to live forever, the way to do that is to be as righteous as you can and to leave the righteousness in this world through your descendants, through your children, to make sure you invest everything you can, time, money, and effort, whatever it takes, especially spending time with your children. That's the most important thing. Spend time with them. Don't just pay for everything, because they don't understand what money is. They don't understand. They think that's your responsibility. If you think that if you're just going to pay for all their expenses and their school and their food and never spend time with them, they'll love you, you're wrong, because they won't love you. They will only love you when you invest your time, your energy, and your attention to them. That's what Yaakov did with all of his children, his sons and his daughters, and that's why all of his children ended up founding the most important people on planet Earth. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen v'amen.